Yes, it was really like that. Some of you kids born after 1991 might not understand how horrible it was for people living behind the Iron Curtain. East Germany was especially oppressive, which was why they built the wall. Since West Berlin was within easy walking distance of East Berlin, a lot of people were making the easy walk to defect to the West and get out of this military dictatorship. East German authorities suddenly realized if this kept up, there wouldn't be any people left to oppress, so they built the wall and installed the guard towers, machine guns, killer dogs, and all the rest. Why not implement some changes and make it into a place where people want to stay? Sicher scherzen Sie.
He was an American, John Kennedy. He was killed 10 years ago. Today.
That tells us it's November 22nd, 1973. It's been said that everybody remembers where they were and what they were doing when the news came in. I'm no exception. I was in 4th grade, Mrs. Aldrin's class. The principal's voice came over the intercom calling all teachers to his office at once. Everybody was baffled, including the teachers, but we could tell this was something important, so while she was gone, we actually behaved ourselves. If you knew the grade school class that I was part of, you'd know what a world-class accomplishment that was. Anyway, when she came back, it was clear she was trying to keep from crying. She didn't succeed, and she told us that the president was dead. We were all in such shock that we pretty well just sat there. The killing happened around noon Central Time, which meant our morning was just getting rolling, and we still had to be there until 3 in the afternoon. But nobody felt like doing anything, including Mrs. Aldrin. Not counting recesses and lunch, we pretty well spent the rest of the day talking about the assassination and what it could mean for us and for the country. I appreciated that. And as usual, I'm digressing.
Mikhail Levinovich has been arrested. Stranjisk has just returned from Moscow. He says Babsky and Myberov have disappeared. And he thinks you'll be arrested next.
It isn't clear why they're after him, but the KGB didn't need a reason. If they didn't like your face, they could arrest you and make it stick.
I will stand by my right as a free citizen of the Soviet Union.
Stand? Not here in Siberia. That's where people stand. Please, Nikolai, before it gets too late.
It is already too late.
Your what says a what? How self-deluded do you have to be to think you have any rights as a citizen of the Soviet Union? The Soviet Union were the Cardassians of their time. Blind devotion to the state is the highest form of living. You don't have individual rights. You're part of a hive mind, so just go with it. It's a good thing she has more sense than he does. And no, I don't know why we're getting Russian subtitles.
You can't go there.
KGB.
KGB?
KGB.
The magic words, or letters, whatever. Our family is backstage at the magic show. We won't find out why, but it's a good thing. The KGB has the place surrounded, so our fugitive takes a seat in the front row. The magician knows him. Apparently, they're part of something together.
For my next illusion, I need a volunteer from the audience. The gentleman in the first row.
And now they're going to work together to get him out of there.
Watch.
I think he has a fair idea what comes next. He's just not sure what to do about it. Usually the next step is to bring him back, but every rule has its exceptions, and this is one of them. Fast forward to January 1986, USA. We watch an Aeroflot plane land, and later a bus brings the East German gymnastics team to somewhere that there's a competition going to happen.
Memories so like a child. Only.
The blonde girl with the ponytail is his daughter, all grown up. He hasn't seen her in over 12 years.
Who is he watching?
Tatiana, maybe. I think Tatiana. Behind palm tree.
No, it cannot be. Go, see where he's going.
He's part of the KGB security detail keeping an eye on the athletes. Their job, first and foremost, is to make sure nobody defects. I am not making that up. It was a huge problem for the Soviets and their satellite states, and athletes were especially good at going to a Western country for an event and then finding a way to stay there. But our man can't believe his eyes. He's held a grudge against that guy for all this time, and now he thinks he has a chance to catch him at last. John Schuck has the perfect face for this kind of character. He got his start playing a character that was pretty much the opposite of a KGB agent. In the movie MASH, he was Painless, the camp dentist. At some point, he gets a chance to sleep with a woman and can't perform, so he decides he's turning gay and has to kill himself. That's the event that triggers the movie's theme song, Suicide is Painless. I don't know how many people watched the series from start to finish and never knew that song was a pun. Anyway, that role made his fame, and he's had plenty of work ever since. He's also an excellent singer and has appeared on stage in several musicals, including Annie and The Sound of Music. Basically, you get the feeling he can play just about any part and make it his own. And he makes such an excellent KGB agent, I want to shoot the character myself.
Billy, it's Nikolai.
Hello. Hello. What do you say?
Same thing, he needs a meeting.
Oh.
I need a broom.
Billy, why are you calling foreign officials?
He's just a friend. See the balls, Richard?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's Nikolai again, isn't it? Nikolai Andreevich. That's the name I've been hearing all morning.
Nikolai is our man who's trying to catch a glimpse of his daughter. He came to the United States, and he and Billy are friends. And foreign embassies, members of Congress, and lots of other major players have been calling Dick, wanting to know more about Billy and his relationship with Nikolai. Meanwhile, Billy's trying to learn to do magic tricks. Emphasis on trying.
Bill, they've got a word for scientists who get involved with foreign powers, and it's an ugly word.
Richard, I'm just trying to help a friend put his family back together. Now, if that makes me an ugly word, What ugly word?
Radical.
That's not the word he had in mind. We all know that. Glow has been trying to get Billy to let her use his convertible to go to prom since she has her license. Billy is refusing, and she's not happy. She's out of here.
Let me guess. You bought a Toyota.
No, I got a gig. A real serious gig.
Johnny, that's great. Can I get passes?
Wait a minute, you gotta hear this. I'm playing for a bunch of visiting Russians. I am a star in Russia. Can you believe that? Bootleg copies of my tapes sell like hotcakes on the black market. Me and Russia.
Not surprising at all. Bootleg stuff from the West was another huge problem for the Soviet Union. They did their best to keep their people ignorant of goings-on in the rest of the world, but even before the internet, that wasn't going to happen. What Johnny just described was a real thing that happened a lot. Cassette tapes and Walkman players were, and are, small enough to smuggle almost anywhere, especially in the days before metal detectors and baggage x-rays. With a high-speed duplicator, you could make dozens of copies of a tape in minutes. I have verified that personally somewhere in my various travels. I got to operate a machine that made 4 copies of a tape at a time, and it made them in 30 seconds, no matter how long the original tape was. There was a definite market for them because people in the East were hungry for the kind of music they played in the West. The Soviet Union's official stance on rock music was about like my parents' stance. You have got to be kidding.
Billy, tell me you wouldn't dream of selling secrets to a foreign power, would you?
Richard, the only secret I know about is between Miss Nance and the Rolling Stones, and if they're interested in that stuff...
I think Dick forgot who he's talking to. Billy doesn't know any secrets because only a total idiot would tell him one. I had to mute that clip because they're playing another bad cover song. This time it's Paul Simon's Kodachrome, except this guy is no Paul Simon. They won't say in the credits or anywhere else who it is, which suggests to me that the powers that be knew they went cheap and were hoping nobody would notice.
Asking that much, a few words with my own daughter?
The answer is no.
No.
They've taken over the university complex, and so that is effectively Russian territory while they're there.
Diplomacy is weird stuff because when it's left unchecked, it leads to this. One building in the United States is now Russian territory. Reminds me of a Babylon 5 episode. No, do not digress again. So this place is Russian soil. Does that mean if someone gets too close to the building, the KGB is authorized to shoot them? Because that's what they do back home. He's carrying this way too far, but I understand why. This is 1986. The collapse of the Soviet Union isn't even showing on the horizon yet. And they have lots and lots of nuclear weapons, and a lot of officials in the West were deathly afraid of them. Like this guy. His face doesn't show respect. It shows fear. Nobody wanted to cross the Russians because nobody had any idea how volatile they might or might not be.
We're talking about the guy's daughter here, not Matahari.
That's not what your country can do for you.
Truth is, while they are guests in this country, we're responsible for their security. And we don't want any incidents.
We all know what he means by their security. We're to help them make sure nobody slips out and defects, as I said before. That's what he means by an incident. He doesn't think anybody's going to try and hurt any of the athletes, but he does think some of them might try to miss their flight back to Russia.
I just want to talk to my daughter to see how she is, to ask about her mother.
Now, if we find you interfering, you'll answer to us, Mr. Andreevich.
If you're going to be part of the public face of the government, probably the State Department, you should know how other people's names work. Andreevich is his middle name, better known as his patronymic, you arrogant twit. We haven't heard his last name yet, and we won't because somebody writing this also didn't know how Russian names work. Male Russian names take a particular form. Nikolai is his given name. Andreevich means son of Andrei, and it's followed by his last name. They all work like that. My name would be David Leroyevich Washburn. It would be insulting to call me Mr. Leroyevich, and it's equally insulting to call him Mr. Andreevich.
Forget it, Hayes.
Fimo, we just can't turn our backs on him.
I'm not gonna mess it up because of some screwy idea.
Hey, it's not a screwy idea. It's what got him out. A magic act, so I figure it's a perfect way to get us in.
Nikolai knows a little about creating illusions, but not enough to go on stage. Still, Billy thinks it should be enough to get him in the door.
All I'm asking you to do is just help us get him into the rehearsal.
That's it.
That's it. And you might mention that you know him.
That's no problem.
Okay, and that you never perform without him.
Not on your life.
Why does he have to say something like that? But none of these guys can say no to Billy for very long. He wears them down by sheer numbers of words.
This man changed my life. I was on my way to being very important.
It might not be him. You should check the picture.
It's him. 12 years I have waited for this. This time he's mine.
We'll never learn what Nikolai is supposed to have done that they wanted to arrest him in the first place, but our man has a better reason now: revenge. He got passed over for promotions because he let Nikolai slip through his fingers. I'm not sure what he thinks bringing him in 12 years later will do for his career, but that doesn't matter anymore. This is personal.
So this is what we had figured. You see, I would be in disguise so no one would recognize me. Now, I know a little bit about magic, and Billy says he knows a lot, so we could give them a magic show.
Not throwing the dog high enough. That's very funny.
Billy says he knows a lot about magic. I get the feeling he has his own definition of a lot. He's already roped Elle into helping him, and Glow is on the phone.
So what do you say? I mean, I need your help. You in? Glow, I mean, that's not fair. We're talking about helping out a fellow human being here in trouble, and you're talking to me about convertibles?
Glow is also a fellow human being, Billy. Funny how rarely he takes that into consideration.
I mean, it's apples and oranges, Glow, apples and oranges. Okay, all right. I give up, you win.
He had to know he was going to lose that one. Johnny is at the auditorium rehearsing.
I like to dream. Yeah, right between my sound machine.
That's as much of that as I can take. Magic Carpet Ride was my favorite song in 1968, and I do not appreciate the way he's butchering it. It's way too high for him, he can't stay on the melody, and it's clear he has no idea how the song is supposed to impact. I don't know if that's our actor or someone else singing, but whoever it is, he shouldn't have done it.
All right, now listen, Dex. When you go down through that trap door, I'll only be able to cover you for a couple minutes with her before you have to reappear. Now, when you're down there, you do exactly what Al tells you to do. Because, my friend, if we are caught doing this, it's going to be Tatiana that pays for it.
I know that all too well. Billy, you were right. We can get there through the grate under the stage.
Glow is now a towel hander-outer for the gymnast. She's working on befriending Tatiana. While she's doing that, Johnny is trying to convince the lady who's managing this show that a magic act has to be part of it. Suppose we have George do a nice electric illusion.
Yes. Do it again.
I think she's convinced. Things aren't going quite so well for Tatiana. Glow says, that had to hurt. Tatiana says, you develop calluses. While they're chatting, our KGB friend Galenkov is confirming his suspicions that the magician is Nikolai. He's determined to take him back, even though his aide there points out that there's no good reason to. As I said, this is personal. What he intends to do with Nikolai once he gets him back to Russia is anybody's guess. It's possible even he doesn't know.
Tatiana, you know my name.
Yeah. I know this is going to sound very strange because we just met and everything, but I really want you to trust me. I have a message for you.
A message?
Yeah. Would you like to see your father?
While she smuggles Tatiana down below under the pretense of using the bathroom, Billy helps George perform a disappearing trick to get him down there.
Tanya, it is me.
I have only come because I have something to tell you.
You are angry at me. I cannot blame you. I understand.
You don't understand.
She won't give him a chance to say what's in his heart. She's too busy ripping it out of his chest.
Tell me, how is your mother? It is 9 years since I heard anything of her. Anything at all. Tell me, how is she? Please.
Mama died 7 years ago. That's all I came to tell you.
His beloved wife is dead and his daughter hates him. Not exactly what he envisioned from this meeting. It's time for Billy to finish the disappearing illusion.
I'm impressed.
Needless to say, Nikolai is shattered, but his friends intend to rally around him and get him reunited with his little girl. They're not about to give up. Unfortunately, Tatiana can't stop crying, and Galenkov knows what that means. So he's setting up a plan of his own.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I won't allow it. I don't allow it.
No, Richard, I think it's going to work, okay? Elle's already mapped out the 3 escape routes, and we now have a two-stage plan. Doctor?
I don't know what makes Dick think he has any authority around this place. The biggest problem I see is, short of firing people, he doesn't have any way to back up his orders with disciplinary action for failure to follow them. Or if he does, nobody told him about it, so he's never used it. The lunatics really are in charge of this asylum, and as the head lunatic, Billy knows it.
2 illusions. First, Gloria trades places with Tanya. That gives Tanya a chance to slip out the side. Doc?
Next, Gloria then lifts Nikolai up to the catwalk. He's out the fire escape, out the door, on his way. 1, 2,
3.
You said it was a 2-stage plan. Where'd 3 come from? Glo has taken her towels and followed Tatiana out to the running track. Tatiana has a Walkman so she can listen to music while she runs. Except if Glo does that.
Dearest Tatiana, I know that you are upset with me, and you have every right to be, but since I left you and your mother 12 years ago, not a day has gone by but that I have not thought about you and prayed to see you again.
One way or another, she's going to hear him out. He tells her about how close they were, how she was practically a part of him. The years have only intensified that, and his love for her will never diminish. She can hate him, it doesn't matter. He's devoted to her and always will be.
I left Russia because I was forced to. But what I found here in America has restored my soul. I want you to have that too. I know you have a life of your own back in Russia, but if you want to stay here in America with me, we can help you.
Glo was able to switch the tapes because Tatiana was watching a group of American kids on a hill nearby playing with a kite. She never had that kind of freedom, and you could see in her face that she wants it. He says, if this is what you want, be at the show tonight and volunteer when I ask. If you choose not to, I'll understand, so if your hand stays down, I'll know that's your answer.
Whatever you decide, Tatianoshka, know that my heart is always with you. Always.
Now she's really torn. She's blamed him for her mother's death all these years and swore she'd never forgive him. But she should know that if he hadn't fled the country, he would have suffered the same fate her mother did, and she never would have seen him again. They have a chance to start over. The big question is that something she wants? Right now, what she needs most is a towel.
Did you know my father well?
A little. Do you want to talk?
Yes.
She needs a towel and the friend that goes with it. It's showtime when we learn that Johnny can't cover Chuck Berry any better than he can cover John Kay.
Well, I feel so good today. We just touched ground on an international runway.
That one's way too low for him. He really needs to take some lessons and figure out where his range is. Or quit trying to sing and stick to guitar. Still, the ladies from Russia love it.
Lydia, what do you think of America?
It's good. Yes, I like it. I wouldn't like to live here, but it's nice. You don't like it? No, I like it.
But she still can't decide if she wants to stay here. She'd better decide soon because it's time for the magic act. We'll start with a little puppetry. Your eyes do not deceive you, that's hell. George cuts the strings and his marionette crumples to the table. Now that's some puppet work. You may notice that it's green screened. Apparently nobody wanted to spend the money to build that set full size just so Kevin Peter Hall could show off his moves. And he does have some moves.
Best gonna advertise, as no one ever told you. You got a body built to last. Big story dead stop. Going nowhere and fast.
Everybody is loving it. I think even George enjoyed that. But it's time for the moment of truth.
For my next illusion, I will require the assistance of a volunteer from the audience. A volunteer perhaps from among the visiting gymnasts.
He is my father.
I wonder if she realizes she just left her friend with a lit bomb. What is that poor girl supposed to do with that information?
It's time now. You go down below the stage.
And when it is your turn, you climb down through the trapdoor.
If they catch us.
They will.
Fortunately, she doesn't have to do anything because Galenkov already knows. How did they know to put a hood over her head so she can't see to move things?
Even if we don't make it, I'm glad we tried.
We will make it.
See you in America.
In America.
Okay, maybe the hood thing is standard procedure. Being a spy is one of the many jobs I haven't done, so there's a lot I don't know. There is a lot I don't know about these things, but I'm pretty sure that's not standard procedure. Gloria hasn't appeared in the box like she's supposed to. Billy heads downstairs to see what's wrong.
1 and 2 and 3.
What is going on? Glow's missing.
While Elle helps Tatiana escape, Johnny is looking for Glow. Billy is helping Nikolai stall while they try to figure out how to get out of here without her.
You are watching Nikolai Andreevich say goodbye to America.
Not if the Misfits can help it. And now that they're back to full strength, I have a feeling they can help it.
Oh, Gloria, what has happened?
Everything's gone wrong. We have to get out of here.
Yes, please, it's Tanya up. That is the important thing.
Show up. Where the hell you been?
Tell you later, they need you downstairs.
Billy has an idea. A moment later, George is back on stage with Gloria. Galenkov and his team are in the wings, ready to grab him.
I was right after all. This is like Berlin exactly. Get back downstairs and catch him when he comes through the door.
I'll bet his assistant in Berlin couldn't do that. Galenkov keeps saying, watch the trap door. Except there isn't one.
Drop the curtain! After him!
Now see what you deprive the audience of, Mr. Party Pooper.
There he is! After him!
While they're chasing him, it's time to get Tatiana out of here.
Come on, let's go. You guys get in the back.
Johnny!
Whoa! Grab the wheel.
Can we take a moment to appreciate some really great acting? In the midst of all this tension and danger, look at Glow's expression when Johnny tells her she gets to drive. Courtney Cox projects the image of the teenager who just got her license so perfectly, I find it hard to believe she wasn't 17 when she did this. For the record, she was 21-ish, which isn't that far away from 17, so maybe it wasn't as difficult for her as I thought. Regardless, she sells the package in a completely believable way. Supposedly, they're technically still on Russian soil, but let's talk international incidents. A foreign agent shooting at American civilians within the borders of the United States. Not brilliant, dude. Be glad Johnny stopped you when he did. Bruises and all. Yeah, stopping them like that is a lot less volatile. Too bad there's nobody in the truck but us chickens, and there's nothing in the freezer but ice cream bars. No defecting Russian athletes anywhere. He has to let them go.
Hurry, we gotta get her out of there. She's freezing.
The agent who checked the freezer helped himself to a couple of the ice creams. Too bad for him he didn't dig deep for the really cold ones, but that's how it goes. Unfortunately, Galenkov and his goons have caught up with Nikolai.
Welcome home, Nikolai. We've waited for this a long time. Now, you are going to take a very long sleep, and then we can talk again in Moscow. And you can get rid of this disguise now. It really isn't very becoming.
Remember how I said Billy had an idea?
Kiss from a distance. Memories so like a child.
He's waited a long time to hear her say that word again. Once upon a time, I was forced to be separated from one of my little girls for about a year, and it was one of the worst times of my life. So yes, this is getting to me.
And the Soviet Consul General issued a statement in San Francisco early today expressing shock and dismay. See box next page. Meanwhile, in Moscow, Pravda called into question the judgment of the team security officials.
Sounds like your friend Galenkov is up for a tour in Siberia, huh?
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, as they say. Glow is teaching Tatiana how to shop. Nikolai has a good life in America, and now he has his daughter to share it with. It doesn't get much better than that.
It was great, Billy. We went to the Santa Monica Pier, and we had cotton candy. We went to Hollywood, and we had hot dogs, and then we went to the Westwood, and we went to a record store.
And Tatiana swore into him for not having any of my old albums.
Then we went to a mall. You loved the mall, didn't you? Then we had tacos. She'd never, ever had a taco in her whole life.
If one is not careful, freedom can be very, very fattening.
You know, all that, and you brought the car back in one piece. Glow, I'm proud of you.
And Glow didn't even scratch the car. Now, if it was me, I'd have gone to a novelty store and bought one of those stickers that makes it look like the windshield is shattered just to mess with Billy's head. Oh yeah, and a couple of bullet holes in the fender. Tell him the KGB is gunning for him and watch his face. Since West Berlin was in... Blah, 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 blah. Great start, Irving. And then finding a way to miss their flight home. No, that's not what it says, you idiot. I have verified that personally. Verified? Which suggests... Slow down. One word at a time. I'm not sure what he thinks bring him in meant. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure what that word was supposed to be. I'll bet his assistant... blah, 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 which isn't that far away from 17, so... I'm going to have to close Discord because these guys want to have a conversation.